I'm a 30-year-old woman and I've been married to my husband, Eric, 31M, for 3 years now. We're expecting our first child and I'm currently 5 months pregnant. We decided to have my baby shower earlier than usual because I didn't want to wait until the 7th or 8th month. I'm really excited about becoming a mother, but recent events have cast a shadow over what should be a joyous time. Before I get into the current situation, let me give you some background on how Eric and I met. It's actually a pretty interesting story that involves trust from the very beginning. 4 years ago, I witnessed an incident where a girl was making false allegations against Eric's friend. I was at a local coffee shop when I overheard an argument between Eric's friend and this girl. She was accusing him of harassment, but I clearly saw that he hadn't done anything wrong. In fact, she was the one who had been bothering him, trying to get his attention despite his polite refusals. A few days later, Eric approached me at the same coffee shop. He introduced himself and explained that he was friends with the guy I had seen. He asked if I would be willing to testify about what I had witnessed. Without hesitation, I agreed because I knew his friend was innocent. I couldn't stand the thought of someone being falsely accused of such a serious allegation. That's how Eric and I first met. We exchanged numbers to stay in touch about the case, but we soon started talking about other things too. Our friendship grew quickly, and we found ourselves spending more and more time together. I remember one time we went hiking together, and Eric helped me overcome my fear of heights. We decided to tackle a trail that was known for its steep climbs and beautiful views. As we started ascending, I felt my palms getting sweaty and my heart racing. Eric noticed my discomfort and gently took my hand. He was so patient and understanding, encouraging me every step of the way. When we finally reached the lookout point, the view was breathtaking. As I stood there with Eric's hand still in mine, I realized I was falling for him. Another memorable moment was when we went to a food festival together. Eric has some severe food allergies, and I was so impressed by how carefully he navigated the different booths, always asking about ingredients. I found myself wanting to protect him and make sure he was safe. At one point, a vendor assured us their dish was allergen-free, but I noticed some cross-contamination happening at their station. I spoke up immediately, potentially saving Eric from a dangerous reaction. The gratitude in his eyes at that moment made my heart melt. As we spent more time together, our relationship naturally progressed. We shared so many interests, from our love of old movies to our passion for volunteering at the local animal shelter. Every moment with Eric felt right, like we were two puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together. Eric proposed to me 6 months after we met, during a picnic in the park where we had our first date. It wasn't an elaborate, over-the-top proposal, but it was perfect for us. He had packed all my favorite foods, including the cupcakes from the bakery where we had our first coffee together. As the sun was setting, he got down on one knee and asked me to spend the rest of my life with him. Of course, I said yes. Our wedding was beautiful, but it wasn't without its challenges. Eric's twin sister, Ashley, 31F, has never liked me. I'm not entirely sure why, but she's made it clear from the beginning that she doesn't approve of our relationship. At first, I thought it was just typical protective sister behavior, but as time went on, it became clear that her dislike ran deeper. Despite Ashley's feelings, Eric still chose to marry me. Ashley didn't want to attend the wedding, but she did for her brother's sake. I can still remember the cold look she gave me as I walked down the aisle. It was a stark contrast to the love and joy on Eric's face. Ashley has been in a relationship with John, 34M, a divorcee, for about a year now. John has a son, Daniel, 7M, who's a really sweet kid. I actually get along well with John. He's a gentleman and seems to understand things better than Ashley does. He's always polite and considerate, often acting as a buffer between Ashley and me at family gatherings. Now, here's where the current problem comes in. I was discussing preparations for my baby shower with Eric when Ashley called. She didn't ask, she demanded that we celebrate Daniel's 8th birthday during my baby shower. Apparently, Daniel's birthday is 3 days after my shower, and Ashley doesn't want to pay for a separate celebration. She said if she had to celebrate later, she'd have to make an equal contribution, so she wanted us to accommodate Daniel's birthday during my shower. Then she hung up without even waiting for my response. I was left staring at the phone in disbelief, trying to process what had just happened. I was shocked by her behavior and immediately told Eric about it. He was just as surprised and upset as I was. We both agreed that this was completely unreasonable. My baby shower is supposed to be about celebrating our upcoming child, not about saving Ashley money on her boyfriend's son's birthday party. Eric and I spent hours discussing how to handle this situation. We both felt torn. On one hand, we didn't want to cause more family drama, especially with a baby on the way. On the other hand, we felt that giving in to Ashley's demands would set a dangerous precedent. We considered several options. Maybe we could have a small celebration for Daniel at the end of the baby shower? But that felt like it would take away from both events. Perhaps we could offer to contribute to Daniel's birthday party if Ashley held it separately. But why should we have to pay for her to do the right thing? In the end, Eric and I have decided to talk to his parents about this. We're hoping they might be able to reason with Ashley, or at least support our decision to keep the events separate. If Ashley doesn't back down, we're considering uninviting her from the baby shower altogether. I feel terrible about potentially excluding Daniel, who's innocent in all this. He's such a sweet kid, and I know he'd be confused and hurt if he couldn't come to the baby shower. But I don't see how we can have Ashley there if she's going to be so disruptive and selfish. This whole situation has added so much stress to what should be a happy time. I'm worried about the impact all this tension might have on my pregnancy. My doctor has already warned me about keeping my stress levels down, and this is certainly not helping. I can't help but wonder if I'm overreacting. Am I being too sensitive because of the pregnancy hormones? Should I just give in to keep the peace? But then I think about how this is just one in a long line of inconsiderate actions from Ashley, and I feel angry all over again. Eric has been incredibly supportive throughout all of this. He's made it clear that he's on my side and that he won't let his sister ruin this special time for us. But I know it's hard for him too. Despite everything, Ashley is still his twin sister, and I can see the pain in his eyes when he talks about possibly having to uninvite her. So, Reddit, Aida for refusing to combine my baby shower with my nephew's birthday celebration? Am I being unreasonable, or is Ashley out of line? How would you handle this situation? I could really use some outside perspective on this. First update. It's been about 2.5 months since my original post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. It really helped Eric and me navigate this difficult situation. After Ashley's phone call, Eric and I did talk to his parents as we had planned. They were just as angry and embarrassed by Ashley's behavior as we were. They couldn't believe she would try to hijack my baby shower like that. Eric's mom was particularly upset, saying she had raised her children better than that. His dad, usually the quieter one, was visibly disappointed in Ashley's actions. We also told John about what happened. He was furious with Ashley, but interestingly, that wasn't what led to their breakup. After learning about Ashley's demand, John had a heated argument with her. He told her that if she couldn't be fair to his son, she should reconsider their relationship. This made Ashley extremely angry, and she turned to alcohol to cope. One night, completely drunk, Ashley showed up at our apartment. It was late, around 11 p.m., and Eric and I were getting ready for bed when we heard aggressive knocking on our door. When Eric opened it, Ashley stumbled in, reeking of alcohol. She started yelling incoherently, her words slurred, but the anger in her voice clear. She began arguing with me, getting more and more aggressive. She accused me of stealing her brother, of ruining her family. I tried to calm her down, to reason with her, but she was too far gone. Things escalated quickly, and before I knew it, she had punched me in the face. The shock of it stunned me for a moment. Eric was furious and had to physically restrain her as she tried to lunge at me again. I wanted to call the police. Ashley had assaulted a pregnant woman, me, and I was scared for my baby's safety. But something held me back. Maybe it was the memory of the little girl Eric had told me about, the sister he had grown up with and loved. Instead, I called John. When John arrived and saw what had happened, he was horrified. He took one look at my bruised face, at Ashley struggling against Eric's grip, and made a decision. He broke up with Ashley on the spot, telling her that he couldn't be with someone who would endanger a pregnant woman, let alone her own family. In the days that followed, Ashley's drinking got worse. She would call me when she was drunk, hurling abuse and insults. She blamed me for John leaving her, for ruining her life. Other times, she would call Eric and yell at him for being a coward who was afraid of his wife. It was a really difficult time for everyone. Eric was torn between his love for me and his concern for his sister. I could see the toll it was taking on him. He wasn't sleeping well, constantly worried about what Ashley might do next. We installed a security system in our apartment, just in case she tried to break in. The situation came to a head one night when Ashley, completely intoxicated, got behind the wheel of her car. She ended up crashing into her parents' house because she couldn't control the vehicle. The sound of screeching tires and crashing metal woke the whole neighborhood. Eric's parents rushed out to find Ashley unconscious in the driver's seat, the front of their house a mess of broken bricks and shattered glass. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but it was the wake-up call her parents needed. They realized they had to take drastic action and decided to put Ashley in rehab. It wasn't an easy decision, but they knew it was necessary. Ashley fought against it at first, but eventually, she agreed to go. Despite everything that had happened, I felt sad for Ashley. I could see that she was struggling and needed help. The Ashley that had done these terrible things wasn't the real Ashley. She was buried under layers of anger, resentment, and alcohol. I even encouraged John to visit her in rehab, thinking that having support might help her recovery. To his credit, John agreed, saying he was open to reconciliation if Ashley genuinely tried to become a better person. He still cared for her, despite everything that had happened, and he knew that Daniel missed her too. Over time, Ashley started to show signs of improvement. She began to engage with her therapy and seemed committed to getting sober. It's been a long and difficult process, but we're starting to see glimmers of the old Ashley, the person she was before all this negativity took over. Eric and I have been visiting her in rehab too. The first few visits were awkward and tense. Ashley couldn't look me in the eye, ashamed of what she had done. But slowly, we've started to rebuild our relationship. She's apologized multiple times for her behavior, especially for hitting me. I can see the genuine remorse in her eyes. As for me, I'm now in the final stages of my pregnancy. My due date is approaching quickly, and the baby could arrive any day now. Despite all the drama with Ashley, Eric and I are more excited than ever to welcome our little one into the world. We ended up having a beautiful, drama-free baby shower. Ashley wasn't there, of course, but we did invite John and Daniel. It was a lovely day filled with love and support from our friends and family. Daniel was a bit confused about why his aunt Ashley wasn't there, but John explained it in a way he could understand. Looking back, I'm glad we stood our ground about not combining the baby shower with Daniel's birthday. It would have been unfair to both Daniel and our unborn child to try to merge the two celebrations. We ended up attending Daniel's birthday party a few days after our baby shower. It was a small, intimate gathering, and Daniel seemed to have a great time. The whole experience has taught me a lot about family, forgiveness, and the importance of setting boundaries. It hasn't been easy, but I believe we're all coming out stronger on the other side. As we prepare for the birth of our baby, I'm hopeful that things with Ashley will continue to improve. Maybe, just maybe, by the time the baby arrives, we'll all be in a better place. Eric and I have already decided that we want Ashley to be a part of our child's life, but only if she can maintain her sobriety and continue to work on herself. The journey ahead won't be easy, but I'm optimistic. We've weathered this storm as a family, and I believe we can face whatever comes next. For now, though, my focus is on bringing our little one into the world safely. Everything else can wait. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I'm happy to report that things have taken a turn for the better. I'm writing this update from Ashley and John's wedding reception, which is something I never thought I'd be able to say. After my last update, Ashley continued to make progress in rehab. She committed herself fully to the program and worked hard on her sobriety. As she became more clear-headed, she started to realize the harm she had caused to her relationships, especially with Eric and me. About a month after my last update, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. We named her Lily, and she immediately became the center of our world. To our surprise, one of our first visitors in the hospital was Ashley. She came with John and Daniel, bearing flowers and a heartfelt apology. Ashley broke down in tears when she saw Lily. She apologized for everything: the baby shower incident, the drunk driving, the physical altercation, and all the hurtful words she had said. It was clear that she was genuinely remorseful and wanted to make amends. Over the next few weeks, Ashley continued to visit us. She was always sober, always respectful, and seemed to genuinely want to be a part of Lily's life. Slowly but surely, we started to rebuild our relationship. As Ashley continued to show improvement, her relationship with John also began to heal. They started dating again, taking things slow, and putting Daniel's needs first. It was beautiful to see how Ashley's renewed focus on sobriety and personal growth positively impacted their family dynamic. Which brings us to today, Ashley and John's wedding. It's a small, intimate affair, but it's full of love and joy. Lily, now 3 months old, is here too, gurgling happily in her little flower girl dress. Looking around the reception, it's hard to believe how far we've all come. Eric and I are dancing with Lily in my arms. John and Ashley are sharing their first dance as a married couple, with Daniel beaming proudly at his dad and new stepmom. Our relationship with Ashley isn't perfect. We're still working through some things, and there's a lot of trust to rebuild. But we're in a much better place than we were 6 months ago. Ashley has been sober for 5 months now, and she's committed to staying that way. As I watch Ashley laugh with John and Daniel, I feel a sense of peace. Our family has been through a lot, but we've come out stronger on the other side. I'm grateful for the progress we've made and hopeful for what the future holds.